Hi there, this is Dr. Carmen McGuinness. Thank you for stopping by my channel. If you find my messages helpful, please subscribe. I upload a new video message every week or few days. Today I'm going to talk about the importance of grieving after an intimate relationship is terminated. Whether it was a marriage or a long-term romantic partnership, when we lose our partner, grief will follow as an inevitable part of the loss. As you go through this difficult time, it's important to understand that grief isn't an isolated emotion, but rather a process that has to be traversed. Like all processes, there are stages to grieving. The stages may vary in duration. Sometimes we pass through a stage only to revisit it later. And some people experience more than one stage at a time, frequently. Some people do. Denial is often the first stage in grieving. There are benefits to be gained from denial when it's experienced as a stage in a process and not a resting place. Denial is a protective reaction, keeping us safe from the initial pain of the end of the relationship. It provides shelter from the unthinkable, while we gather our resources in preparation to face the inevitable emotions that are bound to follow. In some cases, denial has already been underway, often for months or even years, when the breakup finally occurs. Eventually, denial gives way to the pain and loss of the breakup. Pain may be experienced emotionally or even physically, and frequently individuals experience both emotional and physical pain. When acknowledged, pain can act as a signal for us to take care of ourselves, to nurture ourselves toward recovery. When denial is prolonged and the individual refuses to acknowledge the end of the relationship, the pain that follows may be even greater, as was the commitment to deny the truth. Anger often follows denial, and there are also benefits to the stage of anger in the grieving process. Like denial, anger can shield us from pain, channeling our emotions toward the wrong we were dealt rather than the loss we've experienced. And anger can fuel the energy required to make necessary changes. However, there's nothing to be gained when we remain stuck in anger mode, instead of making strides toward moving through the other stages and experiencing the inevitable pain of loss. Although prolonged anger can cause serious health problems, we do need to go through it briefly. Bargaining is another stage in the grieving process. Bargaining is a useful stage when the parties choose to try to save the relationship. However, we should be aware that bargaining can also be used as a form of stalling the breakup and the inevitable pain. Getting stuck in bargaining can result in dishonest relationships, for instance. Let's stay friends might be, for one of the other partners, a way to pretend to work on it while we figure out what we're going to do, and if we want to even try to work on it. Or, I want to keep you in my life, but I don't want the commitment involved in that. Sadly, depression is also involved in grieving. As sad as it may be, sadness is a necessary stage in the process. To be able to heal and then move on, one must accept the discomfort of sadness. Scott Peck addressed this eloquently in his book, The Road Less Traveled, now a classic bestseller. According to Dr. Peck, quote, "It is precisely because the unconscious, in its wisdom, knows that the way things used to be is no longer tenable or constructive, that the process of growing and giving up is begun on an unconscious level, and depression is experienced." Of course, staying stuck in sadness leads to clinical depression, interfering with all facets of life. Employment may be lost, family members may suffer, sleep, appetite, and overall health can be seriously impaired. Journaling, behavioral activation, and talk therapy have been systems demonstrated to help alleviate prolonged sadness and avoid depression. Journaling is when we write down what's going on, we write down our feelings, our anger, whatever stage we're in, and it's part of a growth process. Behavioral activation is simply what it sounds like it is. It's getting out and about, moving on with friends, sometimes just smiling, pretending to be happy for a little while can bring on a more natural happiness, a more natural smile. And then talk therapy is what it sounds like it is. The particular method that I use is acceptance and commitment therapy. So these have all been demonstrated to help alleviate prolonged sadness and avoid the more clinical form of depression. Acceptance is the stage that you've been working toward. It's the final thing. It's what you strive toward when you first have that blow that it's over. It's said that with pain comes healing. Eventually, acceptance of what's happened will find the grieving soul. No matter which phase you find yourself in, embrace the process as what it is, a process toward better times. I hope these few words help you in your journey, and as always, contact me if you need support. Be well.